everyone, my name's Claire and I'm back my Stitch Up Design, and today on the video podcast we've got our special guest, which is Kim or Kimmy from Little Wight Squirrel Designs and Little Wight Squirrel Handmade Clothes. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
Yep, so I'm Kim, and like Claire said, I run Little Wight Squirrel Clothing, which is handmade clothing for children, and I've also recently started designing, so I've started doing seamless patterns for children's clothing.
Awesome. So we actually first kind of got to know each other, didn't we, through Instagram. So we were just saying before I started recording, Kim herself used to be a rep for another handmade clothing business, and then you got into handmade clothing yourself, didn't you?
Yep, fell in love with it that way.
So what were the first types of things that you made, and how did you find it? How did you learn everything?
So I've had a sewing machine for a long, long time, but my sewing machine was so old that I think it was actually about as old as me. But in lockdown, I decided to give it a go, like many people. So I started with a romper, and to be fair, my sewing machine was so bad that it took ages. But I was really, really pleased with how it came out. And then I tried some leggings, and just went from there, really.
What's your favourite item to make?
To be honest, I really doubt myself with my sewing, so I prefer the things that I can just easily make. So I do like a romper.
So during your downtime then, where you weren't making clothes, you actually set up the design side of the business as well, didn't you? So can you just talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so obviously with sewing and making to order, obviously you've got a specific time that you have to get that item made by. And like I say, with my son not napping anymore, the time I had encroached on like family time. So I decided to stop that. But I found that with designing, I could pick it up as and when. So if I had a spare half an hour, I could just draw something or paint something and then come back to it later, knowing that there was no time frame. And I've always done art. I stopped probably when I was pregnant, or maybe a little bit before actually, because I was so busy with my previous job that I didn't really do it. So it was nice just getting back into it, and I found it really relaxing. And I thought, oh, actually, I can make a design out of this that my son can wear. But learning to make a design on technology was the hardest part. I am not good with technology whatsoever. The painting, drawing, that's the fun part for me.
Yeah, I remember when I first started and I downloaded a couple of different apps or software that like made for making patterns basically, or just like editing. And one of them was called GIMP, and I tried to use it, and I remember I must have been hormonal at the time, but I started crying because I was like, I'm never going to get this. I just don't understand how to use it. It was so complicated, just not user friendly at all. Just horrendous.
That's how I felt the first time I did it. You think, how am I ever going to learn how to do that? And don't get me wrong, I'm still learning. I still look back at the ones I made originally and realise how I've progressed already. But I don't mind that. I don't mind the learning side of it. It's just when you think, I can't do any of this.
Yeah, definitely. So what apps and stuff did you end up using? Because I think, do you hand paint all of yours, or have you done some digital as well now?
So the only digital one I did was a little splatter design, but that again was just me trying a different technique. I didn't have an end product in mind. So all of mine is hand drawn and painted and then scanned in. I don't have anything. I do it all on Photoshop, which my Photoshop absolutely hates me.
I either hand paint them or I do it digitally drawn on Procreate, and then some people can make the pattern on Procreate, but it seems to be like quite a simple pattern, or they just do like some flowers in the middle, offset them, and then do more flowers in the middle. But my designs are generally quite complicated, so I just cannot fathom doing that. And lots and lots of layers as well, and there's just not enough layers available on Procreate to do that. So I generally draw them on Procreate and then transfer it over to Photoshop. And what I didn't know until quite recently is that Photoshop has got a pattern preview view. And it was another designer that mentioned it. And I thought, God, all this time I've been doing it without a pattern preview. And it was just, it was like a game changer.
My first ones, because the first ones I made didn't have that. And again, my laptop's very, very old. Everything technology that I have is just old. I'm not very good with it. So when I started, it didn't even have the pattern preview. So I was, even though it was the newest Photoshop, my laptop just didn't have the ability to use all of the bits on it. So we've actually like cleared it and done some stuff. And now I've got it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy different, being able to see it while I'm making it and be able to move things around without having to do all the other stuff. Yeah, I agree that it's definitely a game changer.
It is brilliant. If Procreate put in a new feature that was a pattern preview, then I could probably just do everything in Procreate eventually. And I'm hoping that one of their updates will include that, but probably not. So what do you enjoy about designing, and what is your least favourite part?
So I love drawing. So my favourite part of all of it is to draw it first. So I draw it in pen most of the time. And I think I'm better at the drawing side than anything else. It's my tech skills that just let me down, because I'm just useless with a laptop. I'm useless with anything like that. So that's the bit that I don't enjoy as much, but the more I'm learning, the more I'm enjoying it. I think it's just going to take time.
How are you finding getting sales? Because I know it's not the best time to sell. It's oversaturated, and for new designers to come on the scene, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, that's the bit that I'm struggling with. It doesn't stop me wanting to do it, because it was never my plan to just be a designer. I started out, like I say, to design something for my son, and then I just thought, oh, someone else might want one. So it's not something that I think about too much, but it's hard getting new followers. My page has slowly increased, but I think I've still only got maybe 200 followers, which obviously isn't really a lot. But I'd say the majority of my designs have sold maybe one colourway. There's a couple that have sold a bit more, but again, they're to friends that I've made through Instagram, so that's probably helped rather than new customers. So it's hard getting your name out and getting new followers. Was that easy for you when you were starting out? Because obviously, like you say, now there's a lot more designers out there than there was a few years back.
So I remember when I first started, honestly, like my level of design was not good. It was pretty bog standard, but it was so easy to sell. You could literally sell a unicorn turd, which I did. I sold a unicorn turd design, and it sold well. Like, it was so easy. And now my non-exclusive sales are still good. So I sell on Etsy. I'm opening up the Design Emporium website, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I keep saying that because it keeps getting delayed. And then I'll sell on there as well. I sell on Creative Fabrica, but they are just terrible. You hardly get any money. I've got a couple of designs on Spoonflower, and with a couple of other fabric shops that sell kind of like print on demand, so I get monthly royalties. But that is probably not worth the money, to be honest, because my opinion, now that I've been doing it for a while, is that actually, if those people really wanted my design, they would find me on Instagram or on Etsy and buy the design themselves, which would be a lot more money than them buying 2 meters of fabric from the fabric shop, if that makes sense. So for me personally, it's probably not a good thing that I'm selling through fabric shops. So all that money combined is enough money for a full-time wage for me anyway, so I'm happy with that. But what I used to make most money from was actually from Instagram sales of colourways. And now, I just cannot sell colourways at all. I think basically people just think, well, she's going to do a non-exclusive anyway, so I'll buy the non-exclusive. So colourway sales for me is not a big earner now. It's all non-exclusives for me. But I know that that's different for other people. So I know a lot of designers that only make money really from colourway sales, but haven't like broken into the non-exclusive market. So I suppose it swings and roundabouts really.
Yeah, I guess as well, it just depends on how much someone really wants that design, or whether they'd be happy sharing the non-exclusive, which it seems like a lot of people nowadays are quite happy to have a non-exclusive and not worry about other shops having it as well.
Yeah, I think it's just like a reflection of the current market, really, and the current financial state of the UK and the world. Everybody's struggling for money, so if they can still sell the non-exclusive, like as handmade clothing or as fabric, then they'll do that rather than spending an extra £30 to buy an exclusive. So I just think the key is to know your market and cater to it. So that's what I do. Like most of the time, I don't even waste my time trying to sell colourways now. Just straight onto Etsy or Will Be Design Emporium. Actually, Kim, what I've been trying to do recently, which might be of use to you with your design stuff. So I've got followers like on Etsy and Creative Fabric and all different places. So it does help to have a presence in other areas to get different followers. But for example, on Instagram, which is where I concentrate on most, that's where I put all my designs, that's where I focus my marketing on. I found that I reached 6,000 followers well over a year ago, and I've still not reached 7,000 followers. So it's kind of like I'll gain 5, lose 4. So it's not really grown very much. So recently, I've been trying some new strategies which might be worthwhile for you to know. So first of all, I never ever did reels until about 2 months ago. So I started doing reels, and that's probably gained not many followers, maybe like 100 to 200, but it's better than nothing. It's probably reaching people that otherwise wouldn't have reached. So I would definitely give reels a try. There's different things on reels that you should do. So concentrate on SEO. So in the actual text that you're putting on there, make sure that you're talking about seamless patterns, design, all the keywords that you think people are going to be following. Obviously use tags, but apparently they're not even that important anymore. Make the reel in Instagram for Instagram to favorite and add text to the reel on Instagram. And then what you'll probably see a lot is people talking about trending audio. So apparently if you use audio that's trending, that's under 10,000 users, that should get you more views. I've never had one that's gone viral, so who knows? But that is what the advice that all the Instagram influencers give. So yeah, I've tried the reels, and then the other thing that I'm going to start doing now is drawing challenges. And have you seen the Draw This in Your Style challenges?
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah, so doing other artists' challenges should theoretically help you to get more followers, because they usually repost your designs onto their page. You should get more followers and get kind of like maybe slow growth, but some growth is better than nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I say, I think I'm literally in like the 200s. It's been a slow process, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be getting loads and loads of followers that weren't interested either. Like, you want the right balance, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know it is so difficult, because at the minute, like, I feel like most of my job is actually just spent on doing social media and making reels and doing posts and doing graphics for posts. So I've not really got much time to do actual designs, really.
No, I bet it's all the other stuff, isn't it? And I know that my designing's taken a backseat just from doing my sewing, which obviously I'm really happy with. But that's why I wanted to do the 2 now, was because if I had a time where it was quiet with the sewing, rather than thinking, oh my gosh, I've got no orders. Like, I can then go, oh, it's
Yeah.
okay, I've got no orders, but I can take some time to do some designing now. Which before, obviously, it was a bit of a panic. If I didn't have any orders, I didn't have anything else to fall back on.
Yeah. So do you do this full time now then?
So still part-time because my little boy has just started preschool, but we've started it off slowly because he's been with me for 3 years. So I didn't want to just dump him in for however long he could have. So he's actually only going 10 hours a week. So I've got 10 hours a week, basically. Yeah. But after Christmas, he'll be going for longer days because he's been there for a while. As it happens, he doesn't even say goodbye to me. He just wanders off. He's quite happy to go in. I shouldn't have worried. Should have put him in.
How do you find the separation? Like, are you happy for some free time, or are you anxious when he's not there?
No, so the first week I was anxious. I couldn't really I couldn't just sit down. I just had to keep busy. More just because I wasn't sure how he would feel about being away from me. But after that first week, he came home talking about it. He was happy. So I feel good that we've had the 3 years together. Like, that wasn't the plan. I was meant to have gone back to work after my mat leave ended, and I ended up doing Little Wight Squirrel instead. And I actually got those 3 years with him. So I feel like it was the right time for him. Like, he was getting a bit bored of me, a bit bored of being at home.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've got the right balance now. Like, we get some time together, but he also gets to go and be a toddler.
Yeah. When we moved to Cyprus, so it was actually lockdown in Cyprus when we moved here, and it was really, really strict. You couldn't leave the house unless you had a government code, and you could only leave the house for like 3 hours, and that was to do food shopping basically, and that was it. It was really strict. So everything was shut down. There were no parks, nothing. And I really struggled when we moved here. And I think the only way that I stayed sane was actually by doing designing and building up this business, because that was when I first started designs.
Yep.
So it's been an absolute lifesaver for me, really, like mental health wise. And as soon as the nursery reopened, poor Winnie, my youngest, she went straight in there, because I just thought, I cannot cope with just being locked in a house for 24 hours a day with kids. It is not my bag.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing for me. Obviously, I was used to doing like craft activities and sensory activities with a lot of children. So when I had just one at home, oh gosh, doing it with one, no matter how much mess he made, it was still cleaner than it was with lots of other children. So for me, that was the fun part. I absolutely love doing all that sort of stuff. I always do sensory trays and we do painting. So for me, I've really enjoyed that time. But the sewing, the painting, it really helped my mental health. Lockdown just changed everything. Like, it changed who I was. Like, I feel like I was pregnant outside of lockdown, had a baby in lockdown, and they're two completely different people. Like, it's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't think I know this is like off topic, but a lot of people that watch this will be mums and women, and I just think, God, like, you do not understand how hard parenting is until you have a child. I just used to look at people and thought, oh God, I can't wait to be a mum, and actually I found it so difficult, really difficult.
Yeah, and people think that being a stay-at-home mum is the easiest job in the world, and it's not. It's lonely. I think it's one of the hardest things to entertain children all day long by yourself is actually a very, very hard task. So anything you can do to keep sane, whether that's sewing, painting, any sort of craft, I think more people should try it because it really, really has helped.
Yeah, I agree, completely agree. Have you got any questions for me at all, Kim?
So mainly it was just how you built your, obviously, followers up, but you've already spoken about that a bit anyway for your designs, because obviously that's the thing that I've been struggling with. And also, where do you get your ideas from? I think you've said before you've got a good rep team that give you some lovely ideas.
Yeah, so actually, I did a reel the other day of like my top 5 selling designs this year, and I'm pretty sure all of them, maybe 4 out of 5, were rep ideas. And sometimes they'll tell me the ideas. I think, God, that sounds terrible. Sorry, guys. But actually, they've got the knowledge and kind of they've got their own rep team who will tell them what they want. So if there's multiple people asking for that, then it's obviously going to be a good seller. So it does make sense, really. Yeah, so mainly from my reps. Sometimes my kids will just mention a random thing and I think, oh, actually that'd make a good design. I've rebranded recently, so you can see the brightness on the wall. Ta-da! Trends change over time, which is natural. So for quite a while, it was all about like neutrals, beiges, pastels, like lighter colours. But the trend now really is like big and bold and bright. So to kind of move with the times, I've just rebranded, changed my logo, and I'm trialing out some brighter designs to see how that goes. And one other thing, I think I've spoken about this previously, but to grow your account quite quickly but still get the right customers, the most effective thing for me was actually to do joint giveaways or joint competitions with other designers. So that is a good way to do it, and to get the right customers. Have you got a favourite design style, either to buy or to do yourself?
So for me, when I did my bug design, where they're quite realistic and they're drawn first and painted, that is my favourite. But whether other people think so, I don't know, because it didn't actually sell apart from the non-exclusive. But it was something I would put my son in. And that's the thing that I always think, if I would buy it for someone, then that's hopefully what other people would be interested in as well. But to buy, I change my mind all the time. Like, I'll look at something and think, oh, that's not my style, but actually I could see someone wearing that. So I think where designs change all the time, I do as well.
Yeah, same. Right, we'll wrap it up there, Kim, because I know your data storage is about to go crazy. Thank you so much for being a guest today. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
If you'd like to give us a follow and subscribe or a like, that would be much appreciated. Right, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.